Hey everyone, this is Keith Scott from out in Sydney, Australia. I'm one of the voices of Bullwinkle J. Moose. It's time to watch Relentless and Unstoppable. And so give it up for your main hosts, Douglas Kenny and Andy McPhee.
Hey everybody, this is Doug Kenny and welcome to Relentless and Unstoppable. We have another amazing guest coming on the channel today, so please hit like and subscribe. And after this episode, please stay tuned to the RNU channel for more amazing guests. Let's get this on!
Hey everybody, how you doing? Just a quick little share of why I started Relentless and Unstoppable. It was for one very simple reason, because of Doug Kenny. Nothing to do with me at all, zero. I was just coaching Doug, and he took on the coaching and mentoring, and he made all the changes. He took all the suggestions from his parents as well as my coaching, but it was all about Doug, his breakthrough and his weight loss, his willingness to accept that he is dealing with high functioning autism and other issues, but he's never quit, he's never given up. So we did one interview with him to share his story, and then we decided to start interviewing other people, and Doug has now taken over the whole channel. And he does all the interviews, he runs everything. He's just an amazing young man. So RNU was born from simply what an amazing young man Doug is, and his story needed to be shared.
That's pretty impressive. So who was the illustrator for those books?
Okay, so for Maggie G, that illustrator is Carl Angel, and that was with a different publisher. I tell you, when I did that book, so I got the idea for that book when there was an article in the San Francisco Chronicle on Memorial Day talking about women veterans, and they mentioned Maggie. And I saw that, oh, Maggie G, and she lives in Berkeley, and I live in Berkeley. And I thought, again, this is a long time ago, before the internet. I thought, I wonder if she's in the phone book, and she was. And I thought, I wonder if I cold call her, she won't think I'm some wacko crazy, but she'll let me talk to her. And she was the most generous, wonderful person ever. It turns out she didn't live far from me, and she invited me over. She showed me her WASP uniform, her trunk, she still had the manuals that she'd used to train for the WASP. All these photographs. It was an amazing treasure trove of information I could get from her. It was the first time I wrote about somebody I could meet. It was truly astonishing, and I felt like, and we became close friends. It was really a privilege to get to know her. But when I sent that book to publishers, I sent it to all the editors. I'd worked for like 4 different editors by then. Mm-hmm. Nobody wanted it because they said I would get rejection saying, who cares about women and who cares about Asian Americans? And I thought, like, well, I do, and this is a great story. And so 10 years after I'd written that book, I sent it out again because I'm determined and I won't give up. And finally I found a publisher who would take it, which was Tricycle Press.
That's amazing.
I felt like if Maggie couldn't give up, I wasn't going to give up.
Yeah, you're relentless and unstoppable, like the show's about, you know?
Exactly. I mean, she deserved it. And she's one of those people that, when she died, you know, New York Times, they now do this series called, it's like they're doing obituaries for people they should have done obituaries for from 50 years ago. Mm-hmm. I can't remember what that feature is called, but it's like not like Unforgotten, or Discovered Again. But so when Maggie died, I thought they should do an obituary of her because she was important. They didn't, but they did one of her. I kept on nagging, and like 10 years after she died, they finally did an obituary of her, along with the other. I told you there are 2 Chinese Americans who fought in the West, packaging her together with the other Chinese Americans like they're interchangeable. And the other Chinese American woman, by the way, she died in service because she was test flying a plane. She was flying a plane. The other thing the WASP did besides test flying planes and training male pilots is they would ferry planes to where they needed to be. And she was taking a damaged plane back to base to be repaired. Now it was a damaged plane. So it actually stopped working when she was flying, and she couldn't eject because the hatch wouldn't open. So she died because she was ferrying a faulty plane. And when, by the way, women, these WASP died in service, unlike the men, there was no way to get the army did not ship their bodies home or do anything for them. The women would pitch in, pay for the body to be shipped back, and they would take care of their own. And it wasn't until I think I went with Maggie when to D.C. when they finally gave the WASP women the Congressional Medal of Honor, because they didn't get veterans benefits until the 70s. These are women who fought in World War II. No veterans benefits until the 1970s. And when they wanted to be buried in Arlington, they were not allowed until, I think it was 5 years ago, finally one of the WASPs petitioned Congress and got them to allow WASP to be buried in Arlington. They were that ignored by the country they had served, fought for, and some of them died for.
Man, you have quite a collection of books about the amazing achievements of women. So the focus is women that go unrecognized, right?
Yeah, that's a lot of it. Yeah, because I feel like because that's so much of history that hasn't been told. And so when Maggie and I were there for her to get this Congressional Medal of Honor, we went to a signing for her book. You know, she was signing it too. It's called Sky High, The True Story of Maggie G. And we were signing at the Smithsonian. And what was most moving was there were men who came up who she had trained, who said, "You trained me. I learned so much from you. I'm sorry I didn't give you the respect you deserved."
Yeah. Have you ever considered doing books about athletes involving women, like motorsports, for example, with Danica Patrick or Amy Ruman?
Oh, that's a good idea. Yeah, I should. That should be on my list.
You should.
I'll add that to my list. There's a long list of women that need to be written about, I tell you.
Because let me tell you, there have been some women that have achieved big things in motor racing, which is one of my passions, you know. Danica Patrick almost won the Indy 500 in 2005 and was the first woman, I think, to actually lead laps in the race itself. And not along with that, she later went on to win a pole at the Daytona 500 not long after Richard Petty, the 7-time champion, said that she would only win a race if everybody else stayed home.
So he had to eat his words, okay.
Yeah, and even afterwards, though, he still didn't, you know, sort of change his view or, you know, at least acknowledge it, because what happened was she won the pole, and so everybody went up to him, and he said, "When she wins 200 races, I'll be impressed."
Oh my goodness. Okay, yeah. There's just no pleasing some people. And you wonder why it's so hard for some men to admit that women can be capable.
Yeah. You know, I'm a big fan of Richard Petty in the sense that he's the king in the sport, and overall he has a good reputation. But I will admit that I did lose a little bit of respect for him when I heard that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's not a good look. I mean, why be? Because he's being petty. Why be so petty?
I love it.
I'm sorry. I had to say
it. Yeah. But there's also another story involving women drivers, like there was Janet Guthrie at Indy in 1977. She didn't qualify for the race and was openly mocked by people. So you know what happened? Four-time Indy 500 champion AJ Foyt gave her a car that wasn't going to make the race either way, but he sent her out to the track and she ran the fastest laps on the track, proving that if she drove for him, she would have made it in the race.
Wow. Okay, that's a good story. Yeah, I'm going to have to look up these women, so thank you. You're giving me some good ideas.
Yeah, for sure. You should really look into it, and keep your eye out for if they determine that the wreckage is Amelia Earhart's plane, because if it is, it's a good opportunity for you to write the book and possibly be the first one that tells people what happened, you know?
Yes, I'm definitely staying on top of that one, no question.
Yeah. So I want to thank you for being a really good author.
Well, it's definitely my pleasure. I mean, I have a lot of fun. You can tell I'm very passionate about these stories, and I really want to get them out there. I think they matter.
Yeah, and I'm sure that my teacher that introduced this book to me in my class, Trisha Wynn, I hope you're watching.
I hope so, too. I'm a big fan of teachers everywhere who use my books. Thank you.
No problem. So where can people find you?
Well, you know, they can find me through, I would hope they could find me through all my books, but they can find me through my website like you did.
Sounds good. Fair enough. So what are your hopes for the future?
Well, I'm hoping that that women won't have to fight so hard in the future for this kind of inclusion in history. That this will be just part of history.
Yeah, for sure. I wish you luck in your writing, and also just a side note, I'm also an author as well of a kid's book titled Throw All the Junk Food Away.
Oh, okay, I'll have to look for that.
Yeah, it's on Amazon. I'll have to send you the link because it's been hard to find on Amazon for some reason, so I'll send you a link to it.
Yeah, please send me the link. I'd like to take a look. Thanks.
No problem. So everybody, let's thank Marissa for appearing on R&U. Let us hope that women will eventually be seen by everyone as being on the same level as men going forward permanently. Know what I mean?
I hope so. Thank you so much.
No problem. And so everybody, we'll see you next time on R&U.
Gee, that's all we have for Relentless and Unstoppable. So tune into the next episode to hear more amazing stories from amazing guests. This is Keith Scott from Sydney, Australia saying so long, and I'm smarter than the average bear. Gee.